What's good, YouTube? Today we're going to do a response video to GlasgowYGO, Nat Ear, and we're out here in nature. I used to do our hike every other day a couple summers ago. Really could start again, get some of this off, but today we're going to talk about Qliphort Demise and what it's doing to the format and how viable it is. I think it's past questioning if it's viable. It got first place at our last regionals and second place. It top 8 of the regional before that. Builds are being figured out. I'm going to talk about one thing that he didn't really touch on that much, and then talk about a few things he did. So let's start with what he did touch on, and that's this deck's consistency is actually really insane. Like, you're still going to have missed hands because you'll draw combos of cards that don't work together, but through 3 dualities, 3 Into the Voids, Upstart, and 3 Potted Dualities, and on top of that 3 Carded Demise. So you have 3 Duality, 3 Into the Void, Upstart, 3 Carded Demise. That's 10 cards, and that's all draw engine slash power. So it's just so unlikely that your hands don't in some way work together better than they should. With your extra Qliphs, you're able to set in scale without locking your scale, giving you access to lowering slash raising attacks, and also not wasting your resources at the end phase with Demise. You're able to trigger Monolith after you trigger Demise's discard effect and Into the Void discards effect. So realistically, this deck just has a lot of power, and the win con, however, is just beating with 1800 to 21 to 24 to 3k beaters. And that's not the worst win con. You're realistically choking out your opponent, floodgating them as well. So this strategy, brought back by Carded Demise, one simple card lets you draw 3 cards, and you just well, you don't draw 3 cards, but you empty your hand with Qliphort no matter what first. Your first turn hand, no matter what, you're going to empty the hand, draw 3 cards. So basically, it's just really good with this deck. Same with Yosenju's, but you can draw into monsters that are going to get dumped in Yosenju's. So what makes this deck good? Well, besides the fact that it already plays counters to the counters that you're going to be playing, like you already play or side Huge Revolution, which is going to counter Twin Twisters, it's going to counter Full House. So it already beats the side cards with main deck tech slash sideboard. So you already have a deck that counters counters. And on top of this, you don't have to think much. When I say that, you still have to react slash know when to flip up your traps or guess, but you do so many fewer moves than the average deck, like Pendulum, like Cosmo, like other decks, that you don't really have to decide when you're, like what route you're going to play. Like with Draco Pals and Cosmo, you can end up with tons of different boards, but with Qliphort Demise, your board is pretty set. You're setting a bunch of monsters and summoning one, and you don't have room for mistakes like you would in other decks, because there are no mistakes. So with a deck that basically has less play errors than you would typically have in another deck, and a strong strategy, you're not going to often lose, and that's what makes this deck very, very viable, and very strong at that. It's been winning events. I think Demise decks took 3 of the top 8 Irish Nationals as well. Like, this deck is taking over, and it's very hard to side against because they already have the counters, and they have room to better play Magic Deflector and other cards like that are going to shut down Monarchs and Cosmo. And they don't burn cards to do it. Carded Demise is just that sick. Huge Revo helps also. Like I said, the counter that's been being figured out is Full House. Full House destroys them. Well, they main deck slash side deck the outs already. So your problem within this is you have a deck that's very solid. You have a strategy that's also very solid, and you're not really going to be losing to many decks in your game 1, and even past side decking, it's just so unlikely you break, whereas other strategies, when you mix in side deck cards, you're even more likely to break. And that's the opposite case for this deck, because they keep their entire draw engine in, and they just change out depending on the matchup, rivalries, or goes in, or what have you. And I would side in, if you don't already main deck it, Soul Transitions, to chain to Royal Decrees to just tribute Helix and concentrate on making Helix the monster you summon in game 1 instead of carrier, or game 2 and 3 instead of carrier. So that's my opinion on Qliphort Demise. Basically, to sum it up, their draw engine's so powerful that there's almost not a brick factor, even though it's still there. It'll still happen no matter what, but it's just unlikely. And then you also have just other things where it's not really going to clash like it would otherwise. So thanks for watching. Tell me what you think. And I definitely think the top 5 decks right now are no specific order. I'm going to think about this harder. Pendulum, Burning Abyss, Monarch, Cosmo, and Qliphort Demise. I don't think there's any arguing that. So thanks for watching, guys, and this is House of Champs out. We got this guy. He's pretty cool. Got a hawk.